Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today is the 10th lecture for this machine learning 2 course. And in yesterday's lecture, we have done the concept of the algorithm Metropolis Hastings in minute detail and also Gibbs sampling. The whole purpose of doing Bayesian inference is that sometimes it is not possible for you to fit a mathematical model to the data. Because of the fact that when you apply any machine learning algorithm on any data, actually you have a hypothesis. We believe that this model is going to be a good fit because generally it is well applicable, generally it is successful, etc., etc. But it's more trial and error. The machine learning that we do typically is more trial and error rather than mathematical, right? So if you are given the data set for predicting the credit card fraud, so there is no way you can find out what is the best algorithm for that. So you just try out different things and see what is best for you. And the problem with machine learning is that it's not just the application of the algorithm. There is also the selection of the features and how you clean the data. So all of these things are affecting the final output. How you see the parameters, which parameters you select, etc., etc. So as yet, there is no standard rule. There is no convergence guarantee that you're always going to find out the best model. In fact, if you are able to find out, I'll tell you the problem. Okay, if you do not consider the concept of distribution and you are able to find out, let's say 91% accuracy for a training data of 2 years, which is a very good sample of representation, it is still possible that when the data goes live in the testing phase or in live testing after the testing phase, then your accuracy drops considerably. And that has been known to happen very frequently. Therefore, if you keep on searching the blogs for deployment of machine learning models, you are not going to find too many success stories. Because in the first case, you can learn a very good model in your laptop, at your home or in your office, right? But when you give the model to the company, in more than 90% cases, that model is going to fail when they test the model on the live data. Or this you have to experience yourself. If anyone, आपकी company में, if you are working on some machine learning POC or something like that, आप उसको खुद try out करके देखें कि what happens in the live testing scenario. The model is in most probably going to degrade its performance. ठीक है? Why? Why is that going to happen? That is going to happen because you have done a trial and error activity. You have not done any statistical activity. You have done a trial and error activity based on your experience and the experience of others and the hypothesis. ठीक है? आप दोनों आगे आ जाएं. आगे आगे बैठेंगे ना तो ज़्यादा फायदा होगा. So उस trial and error का नुकसान ये होगा कि जब आपकी now see what I'm talking about. When you deploy the model, your customers are your main data generating entities. ऐसे ही है ना? When you deploy the model, the customer behavior always changes. So you, based on the 2 years of data, आपने उसके ऊपर एक mathematical model apply किया. Let's say it was like Gaussian kernels or whatever through the support vector machine. So उस data पे तो वो fit हो गया. But even in the validation and testing phase, the performance goes down. You must know from experience के the testing performance is less than the training performance in a general way. Okay? And the validation performance is between these two. Okay? So as soon as you go in the testing arena, the performance starts to go down. Kyun? On the training phase, no overfitting, no underfitting, 91% accuracy. It's an excellent model. When you put the validation set, it goes down to 87%, 86%. Why? It goes down because you have not actually done anything to the density of the model. आपने एक जो है ना वो एक लेट्स एक शॉर्टकट करके एक मॉडल को आपने एक डेटा पे ऊपर जबरदस्ती हैमर कर दिया. You have forcibly hammered a model onto a data set and somehow gotten it to not underfit or overfit and give you 91% accuracy. And why is that? Because that model is so extensive. जैसे random forest है कि वो it works with 200 trees or 1000 trees. So ये तो divide and conquer approach होगी ना. It's nothing. It's not an innovative approach. It's just brute force approach. You fit the tree to different parts of the same data set. तो ये तो brute force हो गया. इसमें innovativeness क्या है? ठीक है, ये तो आपने जबरदस्ती बैगिंग के जरिए जबरदस्ती आपने एफिशिएंसी अपनी इंप्रूव कर ली. तो उसका फिर उसका नुकसान क्या होता है कि when you go in the validation phase or the testing phase, the performance goes down. Otherwise, the performance should not go down. So what is the problem? The problem is that you have not acquired the probability density of the data. You have done nothing about the density or the likelihood of the data. आपने बस जबरदस्ती ऊपर एक मॉडल फिट किया है. Isn't that true, right? So Bayesian inference goes one step ahead. And Bayesian inference is allowing the machine learning models to not just hammer the model over the data, but to actually go down, go inside the data and learn the posterior. Okay? So we all know that the posterior is what we want to predict. Posterior ka matlab ye hai ki the label that you want to predict. That's a posterior from the perspective of data scientist. Okay? So machine Bayesian inference ये बात कहती है आपको कि in order to estimate the posterior, you have a formula. Posterior equals to likelihood into prior divided by marginal likelihood or the evidence जिसको हम कहते हैं. लेकिन I told you yesterday कि in order to calculate the evidence, you need to have values of all possible parameters, all possible values which the model can take, and it is not intrinsically possible for us to provide that. Say, so probability of theta given x equals to probability of x given theta into probability of theta divided by probability of x. The probability of x कैसे निकालेंगे? Integrate over all the possible theta values, which is not possible for me. How can I get those all possible values? तो लिहाजा अब उन्होंने उसका शॉर्टकट ये निकाला कि let's work with ratios. When you work with different ratios, then the denominator cancels out. सही है, that's the basic essence जो कि हम देखते आए हैं. So we are not that much really concerned about this. So what happens in MCMC? MCMC में I'm doing the same thing, but at different time intervals based on the previous timestamp, which I explained yesterday in a lot of detail. So that basically guarantees कि जो आपकी जो the convergence is going to happen. सही है. So I lost the gist of it. क्या बात हो रही थी? हैं? हाँ. So MCMC क्या करता है कि MCMC basically हाँ that's what कि it goes through different time steps. At each timestamp, I am applying the same Bayesian formula without the evidence. And I don't care about the evidence because I'm using the same formula at each timestamp. And the evidence remains the same. Evidence key value is not changing. So it's just a constant for me. So I just focus on the numerator. It's a normalizing constant, right? The evidence is the normalizing constant. So I just focus on the numerator part. अच्छा, अब दूसरी कहानी आ जाती कि okay, if I give you the likelihood and the prior, can you estimate the posterior? Yes, I can estimate the posterior. Just give me the likelihood, just give me the prior value. I will just say multiply likelihood into prior. That's the posterior, right? Now the problem is that it is not always possible to have the prior function perfectly or the likelihood function there. I can compute the likelihood always from the data. That's what we used to do in Gaussian Knife Bayes जब हमने ML1 में पढ़ा था कि the likelihood is computed directly from the data. I can have a likelihood function जो कि find out the parameter values which maximize the chances of looking at this data जो मैं अभी देख रहा हूँ. So my trial and errors I can find out the likelihood function. अभी भी जो likelihood function हम specify करेंगे that is from the data. Keep that in mind. ठीक है? The prior is always something जिसके लिए आपको domain knowledge चाहिए. For example, if I'm talking about the number of customers entering a particular shop, then potentially it is a Poisson distribution as the prior. Or the number of cars passing at a particular point of time in a road, on the road. That's potentially a Poisson distribution. उसके अलावा जो famous distributions है वो gamma है, uniform distribution है, और सबसे मशहूर जो है वो Gaussian है. So now the Bayesian inference is coming into the domain of probability distribution. Now, if I get the density, if I'm able to estimate the density of any data, चाहे वो mixture, even if it's obviously a joint distribution, right? If a data has multiple columns, that's a joint distribution. Every column has its own distribution, provided they are numerical columns. String values की तो हम बात नहीं कर रहे ना. Although I just saw one blog yesterday or this morning, they were working with string values. Based on given string values, they were predicting other string values by using MCMC methods. So I did not explore that as yet. Okay? But it is still possible to do that. ये आगे बैठ जाएं, इधर आ जाएं. So just get the concept in mind कि Bayesian inference is not doing likelihood multiplied by prior. Bayesian inference ये काम नहीं कर रहा. Bayesian inference ये काम कर रहा है कि it is asking you to provide an estimate of the likelihood and the prior. That's it. The likelihood कहाँ से आएगा? Likelihood function is in your hands. Why? Because the data is in your hands. Up to now, we have seen very childish examples of a coin toss and estimating the mean and standard deviation of a normal distribution. अभी तक हमने बहुत बच्चों वाली examples की. Coin toss हमसे क्या ताल्लुक है? It's just to explain to you how the stuff is working. We need to go towards more complicated problems जो कि आज हम जाएंगे. ठीक है इंशाल्लाह. So what we are doing is कि you need to put this concept in your mind कि we are actually sampling from the posterior directly. How? आपने हमें you gave us a likelihood function, you gave us a prior. ठीक है? Now I know कि उसकी values क्या हैं. You gave a function, it might be wrong. So अभी हम थोड़ा सा I just came across a cookbook yesterday for Bayesian inference, and I copied all the relevant material from that onto this blog. जिसमें आप फंस सकते हैं या निकल सकते हैं, वो अभी हम डिस्कस करेंगे फौरन. ठीक है? So I'm sampling from the posterior directly when I have high dimensional data. That's the condition. Univariate या unidimensional data is not a problematic for me. ठीक है, अगर एक ही predictor है और एक ही level है, what's the अजान थोड़ा हो जाए और इसके. Okay, this thing works well when we have high dimension data, which means that typically like I have 15 columns, 20 columns or something like that. ठीक है? In one of the examples today, we are dealing with like multiple variables. Okay? So I am not able to sample directly from the joint distribution. It's very difficult for me. Okay? So I provide the likelihood and provide the prior. I use the values from those functions to sample from the posterior. ये चीज आप याद रखें कि I do not know the posterior distribution. Basically आप कर क्या रहे हैं? The curve that I told you yesterday in the class, कि I gave you a curve for prior. The thing that we saw in जब हमने ये topic शुरू किया था. There was another curve for likelihood, right? And there was a third curve for the posterior. So this is the posterior that I am estimating based on this function जो आपने मुझे दिया है, and based on this function ये भी आपने मुझे दिया है. So the whole purpose of MC algorithms is to use the likelihood and the prior to estimate the posterior. Now sample from the posterior. Keep that in mind. I do not know the shape of the posterior distribution. Based on the values from L and P, I am going to estimate the PDF of the posterior function. जब मेरे पास PDF आ गया तो मेरे पास सब कुछ आ गया. वो कहते हैं ना कि a person is pretty clever. What does that mean? He understands the other person very quickly. बस आपने उसका बंदे का mindset समझ लिया, बस आपने उस बंदे को समझ लिया. So that's the data. In the case of data, the mindset is the PDF function. So if I am able to estimate the PDF, everything is fine. I can sample from the PDF. That will be a prediction. Posterior is the prediction, right? So आज हम इसकी detail देखेंगे and still it's not explored 100%. So अब जो इस assignment is coming up, which is very very important. ठीक है. और उसके बाद फिर प्रोजेक्ट भी है और प्रोजेक्ट की डेफिनेशन भी आज इंशाल्लाह हो जाएगी. तो दुआ मांगने की थोड़ी आदत डाल लें अगर ये कोर्स आपने पास करना है तो. ठीक है. हाँ, तो हमारी नॉर्मली आदत ये होती है कि फंसते हैं तो दुआ मांगते हैं. मैं आपको पहले से ही बता रहा हूँ. ठीक है. You will see why. मैं आपको डिस्कस करूंगा. अच्छा, now let's get on to this real thing. So you need to okay, we talked about PyStan in the last, I think the lecture before the last one. For the Bayesian inference, there are 3 Python libraries. I think one of them is called Edward as well, but it's not very common in blogs or as far as the documentation is concerned. The best one I think is PyMC, जो कि अभी तक आपको करवाई नहीं मैंने. Yesterday we did hands-on on that. So you have to install the PyMC3 or PyMC4. I think today we are in PyMC4. And you also need to install this RViz. You are going to be using the RViz functions for performance analysis and plotting all the graphs. It's the recommended one now. You can use the functions of PyMC3 as well, but now they are recommending to use RViz. RViz function. RViz is just another module, which is also used in some other applications, which I forget right now. Okay, Baral. This is just, if you want this, use the logging function. So let's talk about some basic things. क्योंकि अभी lecture का शुरू है तो we have to go towards this theoretical stuff. I told you that the problem is the same. You should know how the chain works. सही है. तो ये मैंने कल एक hands-on दिखाया था कि if you are sampling from multiple chains, so one chain can start from here, go all the way and converge here based on the starting point. The other Markov chain, let's say, starts from here. It again also converges to the same. And the third one can be, for example, starts from here and again converges to the same. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? You should know how this process is proceeding. ये मैंने कल Metropolis Hastings, which is the most basic algorithm, वो मैंने कल समझाया है. right now, so these are called samplers. These algorithms are called samplers in this PyMC3 lingo. Okay? So there are many algorithms for constructing the Markov chain. Markov chain किस तरह होती है? That is going to be the topic of your hourly 3. एक question मेरी तरफ से पक्का है कि explain to me how the chain is generated. और मैं आपसे पूछूंगा कि इस वेरिएबल से क्या होता है, इस पैरामीटर से क्या होता है, इससे क्या होता है, इससे क्या हो सकता है. सो यू शुड नो कि चेन कैसे जनरेट होती है, चाहे वो किसी भी एल्गोरिथम की चेन हो. आप नट्स की समझा दें मुझे, आप मुझे मेट्रोपोलिस हेस्टिंग से समझा दें, गिब्स की समझा दें, इट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. हाउ इज दिस चेन ऑपरेटिंग, दैट्स व्हाट यू नीड टू टेल मी. और उसके लिए यू नीड टू डू द कोडिंग, बिकॉज कोडिंग के अंदर वो सारे पैरामीटर्स हैं जो शायद मैंने भी आपको भी सारे नहीं बताए हैं. ठीक है, सो दैट्स वन कंफर्म क्वेश्चन इन आवरली 3. तो अभी से उसको प्लीज कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर कर लें आप. आई विल एनकरेज यू the students to have one study session online once a week. आप सारे students जो है ना एक session once a week इकट्ठे online कर लिया करें. That's going to be very, very beneficial. So the problem is the model formulation. What is the problem? L and P. And how am I going to tune the Markov chain? How am I going to ensure कि Markov chain is the correct one? But performance parameters क्या होंगे जो मैं देखूंगा? It's a big question, ठीक है? So the first of all, you have to try thinking about how your data would be generated. जो data आप देख रहे हैं, the customer data, try thinking about the process कि how was this generated? So for example, customer sales, this probably follows a Gaussian distribution. So when you design the likelihood function, ठीक है, तो likelihood function में you first need to see the PDFs of the given data. And remember, 70% of the machine learning problems are solved by regression. So classification, it's not, it destroys the data. I mean, the string label, string data has nothing to do with machine learning. अगर आप string लेते हैं, string को you convert them to dummy करते हैं ना, one hot encoding. What's that? I mean, that's just garbage, right? 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. Until you have strong strong numerical indicators in your data, you are never able to, feel confident about anything. Converting to label encoding or one hot encoding, that's just a process, right? But as far as the logic is concerned, you need to have numerical data. So machine learning is numerical data. There's no string in machine learning. Okay? So when you get the data, so if you are given 25 attributes, always remember this, there are only going to be a few attributes which are going to be attributes of importance in predicting the label. In the case of Bayesian inference, you have to ensure that the predictors are not correlated with each other. Rather, they are correlated only with the label. ये पहली condition है. If you don't ensure this, then the chain is not going to converge. ये जो मैंने आपको, I showed you the chains yesterday for those who were present. Yeah, these chains, look. These are the chains which are converging. So we sample 5 chains. It's a very simple problem. So they are all converging, right? ये सारे converge कर गई हैं. So they will diverge, and the algorithm will tell you कि वो diverge हो रहे हैं. If any one chain diverges even once, that means कि your estimation is going wrong. Divergence should be nil. There should not be any divergence. तो divergence की एक वजह जो है जो बता रहे हैं वो एक वजह ये है कि the predictors which you have entered in your model, जिनके ऊपर आपने likelihood function अपना estimate किया है, those predictors are क्या हैं? Correlated with each other. So we need to ensure that this correlation does not exist. उसका भी एक तरीका है, ठीक है? Obviously, I can transform the data. That's one method. Or I can just centralize the data. What does that mean? That means that I subtract every value from its mean and use that column. I have sales column, right? I subtract each value from the mean of that column. So that is centralizing the data. That is called centralizing the data. So model formulation के अंदर that is one of the basic things that you need to keep in mind. भाई मेरे पास sales का column है ना, I got 1 million values of sales. तो sale की कोई average तो होगी ना column. तो हर value को मैं उसकी average से subtract कर दूं. So I use that number rather than the original number. ठीक है. The other thing कि आप उसको square कर दें. So I don't know कि उसकी what's the mathematical foundation of such tips and tricks, but they work. सही है, they work. So you need to transform the data so that they are not correlated with each other. What kind of machine has your data as outputs? How you're going to use the prediction? पहले आप inputs का सोचें, data का सोचें, then think about the predictions. This will help you to explore your data as well as help you to arrive at a reasonable model formulation. So think about the problem domain. ये basically what this saying is कि in order to first induce the prior function, the prior function can be the Gaussian function. It can also be a multivariate Gaussian. It can be the beta distribution. It can be the exponential distribution. It can be the gamma distribution. It can also be the uniform distribution. So you need to have the domain knowledge to understand कि कौन सी होगी. So try to avoid correlated variables. Some of the more robust samplers can cope with a posteriori correlated random variables. That means probably nuts. Okay. But sampling is much easier for everyone involved if the variables are uncorrelated. So you can do that in the EDA phase. The bar is pretty low if the joint plot of the two variables looks like an ellipse. That means the joint PDF. Let's say I have two variables and the joint PDF key, the shape looks like this, then this is fine. But if the shape starts to go like this, looking like a line, that you should be alarmed. So we cannot always plot the joint PDF, but you can plot the joint PDF over two variables of the same data set. अब ये चीजें dig up करके देखनी पड़ेंगी. So अब हमारे पास we are now going into a domain in which even the EDA is changing. So in the EDA phase also you need to work with probability densities. And now this is where your first assignment जो मैंने आपको कहा था कि how is the PDF formulated? What is the .cdf function, .pdf function, .pmf function? अब ये चीजें आपकी यहाँ पर काम आ जाएंगी. So you need to explore the columns to understand their PDF. खास तौर पे जो joints का जो काम है वो जरा मुश्किल है. If your sales is depending on the age and the salary, सही है. So the age and the salary form a joint distribution for the sales. So it's not easy. So yeah, how to envision that? Can you always plot that? That's the question mark. So model formulation में likelihood and the prior की information कहाँ से आएगी? कहाँ से आएगी prior की information? From the domain knowledge. From the domain knowledge कि मेरा data primarily इसको follow कर रहा है तो let's see. अच्छा इसमें एक चीज जो मेरे experience में आई वो ये थी कि if I just take one predictor from the whole, which is the most correlated one, so it might end up giving you a very good accuracy. Just one predictor. And I can have multiple predictors as well, in which case I am using the GLM models. But the GLM models are taking a lot of time. So I just discovered that this morning, and we need to find a way to cut that down. It's taking 1 hour to converge. So I have no idea why it is taking such a long time. Okay? So this is the stuff for the model formulation. How to select the prior? We have this some recommendations by some people who have compiled this blog. Flat priors, super vague, but proper priors, normal, not usually recommended. इसकी कोई दलील नहीं है कि why not usually recommended. It could be the Gaussian distribution. Very weak, again the normal distribution. Generally weak informative prior, again the normal. Specific informative prior, normal distribution or whatever. Sometimes this can be expressed as a scaling followed by generic prior, etc., etc. So you can have your own, you can create your own prior based on the normal distribution. इसके लिए आपको ये थोड़ा सा you will have to go through this blog to understand के prior को किस तरह generate करें, or you can just assume that it is the normal and then go ahead. Everything in this blog is not important, but remember ke I gave you 5 or 6 distribution, and the prior in most cases is going to be from those distributions. I personally cannot guide you 100% that this is the rule. So, because this comes from experience. Model parameterization, centered and reparameterization. This is also meant to avoid the divergence. The main problem in PyMC3 or PyStan is the divergent behavior. So if your chain is not diverging, then that means that your model is wrong. Okay? So you need to do something about that. So this guy is talking about the hierarchical models. So that's going to be in our next class. This is the latest addition to the Bayesian inference algorithms. The hierarchical models. Apply it, then in the next stage apply that again, then the next stage apply that again. And they are just discovering so many issues regarding this right now. So this is the latest stuff, the hierarchical one. Okay? So we need to, I have not dug this up right now, so मैं अभी आपको कुछ कह नहीं सकता. We'll just cover the basic stuff today. Okay? MCMC initialization and sampling. Have faith in PyMC3's default initialization and sampling settings. Someone much more experienced than us took the time to choose them. So default, I think, is this 500 tuning iterations and 1000 sampling iterations. That's the default. So if you don't specify the number of iterations and tuning, then this is the default case. NUTS is the most efficient MCMC sampler known to man. So if you don't specify the algorithm, automatically वो nuts उठा लेगा. सही है. Otherwise, you can also specify Metropolis or HMC, which is the Hamiltonian Monte Carlo, वो भी काफी मशहूर है. सही है. Never initialize the sampler with the map estimate. Map क्या होता है? You guys definitely need to have a study session once a week. I'm not kidding. What is map? What do you mean by map? Map का क्या मतलब है? सर को तो शायद पता हो, सर को रहने दे. Maximum a posteriori. The point at which the posterior distribution has the highest value. That is called map. और हम उसको समझते हैं कि मैप जो है वो बेस्ट चीज है क्योंकि पोस्टीरियर की उस पे that is that point at which the posterior has the maximum probability. So we assume कि map is something which is very useful. But इनका नजरिया ये है जिन्होंने कुक बुक लिखी है कि never initialize the sampler with the map estimate, जो कि मैंने ना नीचे किया हुआ है. आगे होके बैठे. आप थोड़ी चाय लेके आ जाइएगा. भाई ये यावर जैन, ये आप घर पे क्या कर रहे हैं यार? हाँ, उस्ताद जो है वो यूनिवर्सिटी में आए हुए, आप हजरात घर पे. अच्छी बात नहीं है यार ये. सर कसूर भी मेरा ही.
बहुत पहुंच
नहीं पाए. तलब की कमी है. बहरहाल तो ये जैसे मेरे ये देखें यहाँ पे मैंने जैसे किया हुआ है कि pm.find_map start, that is wrong. वो इसको मना कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो मैंने क्यों किया हुआ है वो इसलिए किया हुआ था कि आप उसको सही कर दें बाद में. ठीक है. So never initialize the sampler with the map estimate. In low dimension problems, the map estimate is often quite a reasonable point, but in high dimensions, which is our use case, the map becomes very strange. Why it becomes strange? Because the more variables you add, the difficult it becomes to remain to guarantee the convergence, right? It's difficult it is to be confident about any. If in this room there are just 2 students I can be very confident about them कि इनकी क्या performance है, क्या है. But if there are 100 students in a class, then I'll be just silent about anything. I can't make any prediction. So that's the use case here. So besides at the map, all the derivatives of the posterior are 0 because it's the maximum point the derivatives are 0, and that isn't great for derivative based samplers. So don't start the process with the map estimate. I can find out the map estimate how? From the likelihood and the posterior and the prior. ठीक है, उससे initially हम देखें, ये भी चीज याद रखेंगे, initially के जो several hundreds of iterations होंगी, they are just going to be silly because the system is just finding its way about. वो तो it is searching to go towards the convergence. तो initially का that's called the burn-in period, जो कि मैंने आपको कल भी बताया था कि you can specify the burn-in period here as well, जो कि अभी मैंने किया नहीं है, लेकिन that's one parameter जो कि आपको मद्देनजर रखना होगा. ठीक है. So we are done with the model formulation, initialization, and sampling. Theoretically, run the chain for as long as you can, basically. So let 10,000 iterations seems to be a reasonable thing. In the normal case, it is going to converge in within 2 or 3 minutes. 2-3 minutes के अंदर converge कर जाएगा. In the case of GLMs, it is taking 1 hour. So that's what we need to dig up. Again, check for divergences, which I told you. PyMC3 sampler will spit out a warning if there are diverging chains, but we have included code for divergence below with nuts. So ये इसमें नीचे है, तो अभी पता चल जाएगा आपको. Check the trace plot. That's the trace plot of the, when you run the chain, then you output a trace. The trace means the different points of the chain that you sampled. So in the case of, just let me draw that on the board. Do you have a marker here? Oh, padha hoga, so the trace will mean something like this. And then so these points form the trace vector or the trace array. So and I mean, I don't know, there must be a parameter to specify how many chains you want to generate, and then you can take the average of them. Or if all the chains are generating at the final 1 point, then that is the PDF of the posterior. Okay, that is just to confirm that we are going in the right direction, so you can have multiple chains. But the trace vector output pe aata hai, that is basically the points of this array, the value of the कौन बताएगा मुझे? इसके लिए आपको बहुत इस्तेमाल करना पड़ेगा, ज़हन इस्तेमाल करना पड़ेगा. I have numerical values at these points. What are these numerical values? The values of the posterior distribution, not the posterior, the posterior distribution. These are the values which are forming the posterior distribution. जिसकी base पे आप posterior distribution estimate कर रहे हैं. That is what you are sampling. That's why you are doing the whole process, right? So you are typically going to get something trace equals to PM dot fit. PM dot, I don't think this is the fit function here. It's another function, but let me just check this out. Yeah, so it's something like this, PM dot sample. That means to start the chain basically. So with PM dot model as model, just define the prior, the likelihood, blah, 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 blah. And that's the trace that you get from that. So yeah, PM dot summary trace. Now you got different plots. So कभी ऊपर देखते हैं क्या भी just. So check the trace plot. Trace plot में it should be looking like a fuzzy caterpillar. Fuzzy caterpillar क्या होता है? Let me show you. This one. So these are the different values which have been sampled in the chain. So it should be looking like a fuzzy caterpillar. That's the chain, right? So if the shape is not like this, it's not a fuzzy caterpillar, then that means that sampling has gone wrong. सही है? ये उन्होंने कहा हुआ है, हाँ? It's the entire one. It's the entire one. अभी कोड में देख लेंगे ना तो सही है. So you're looking for fuzzy caterpillars. If the trace moves into some region and stays there for a long time, if it is not a fuzzy caterpillar, right? The search went like this. ये search आपकी चल रही है, and it went here, and then it started to just remain here. So that means it's not converging, right? It should go ahead. Nuts का मतलब क्या है? No U-turn sampler. No U-turn sampler. That's nuts. So I might be taking a U-turn. I might be coming back. तो कल मैंने आपको conditions बताई थी इसकी, जिन्होंने कल क्लास ली है, कि the condition which guarantees that the Markov chain will converge is that there can be cycles, but they will not be periodic. They will be aperiodic. सही है. Otherwise तो वो हर step पे cycle बन रहा होगा. How will you converge? There is no reason to go back. So no U-turn sampler. It forces you towards the converging point, because if you go back, then you are not converging, right? How can you converge while going back? That's like a random walk. So वो चीज नहीं चलेगी, ठीक है? बहरहाल, so there might be some sticky regions. That's a cause for concern. तो वो आपको trace plot से पता चलेगा. That indicates that the sampler moves into some region of parameters where it gets stuck there, probably due to high curvature. The same things that we have been discussing previously. Okay, the search can get stuck, like we were discussing in the neural network case. As a drastic debugging measure, try to pm.sample where draw is equal to 1, tune equals to 500, and discard tuned samples equals to false. Then you don't discard the tuned samples. You know, we initial samples हम discard कर देते हैं. ये तो मैंने आपको बताया ना, why? Why do you discard the initial samples? हाँ, तो what's that called? Burned in phase. So those samples are discarded. अब I don't know कि उसकी कौन से algorithm पे उसकी default setting में parameter क्या है, but that it is there, ठीक है? And inspect this is the, ये वो recommend कर रहा है कि अगर divergence observe करते हैं आप trace plot में, अभी तक हमने नहीं की क्योंकि we're working with childish examples. सही है? So as a drastic debugging measure, तो just try this out. This is like the initial samples को आप check करें. Just check out the initial samples through this and inspect the trace plot. During the tuning phase, we don't expect to see friendly fuzzy caterpillars. Initially तो fuzzy caterpillars नहीं बनेंगे ना. Fuzzy caterpillars तो पूरे chain जब converge कर जाएगी फिर बनेंगे. लेकिन what he is saying is कि just try to see the initial samples, and maybe that will give you the reason कि why the fuzzy caterpillars are not forming at the end. That means कि divergence आ रही है, तो शुरू के कुछ samples लेके देखें कि मसला क्या खड़ा हो रहा है. सही है? If you're having computational problems, probably your model is wrong. That's the mantra. So you need to look at your likelihood and prior functions. अच्छा, अगर divergences report होती हैं, increase the target acceptance or reparameterize, change your functions or increase this target acceptance. So this is ये वो चीज़ है जो मैंने कल आपको बताई थी कि acceptance ratio. So it's the default, it is 0.8. So you can put that up to 0.9 if you don't want the system to diverge. Okay? Divergence occurs when the sampler is in the region of extremely high curvature, such as the opening of a hierarchical funnel. So the funnel can be like this. It might be you are sampling from multiple variables, right? Over two different functions. Anything can happen. You don't know the shape. So if there's a hierarchical funnel in the PDF space, you are here, Markov chain chalti aake yahan pahunch gayi. Now you sample the next step, oh, you fall down here. Because the shape of the PDF is like that. And this is definitely not where we want to go. So how to avoid that, na? So this is what can cause the divergence. So there might be these funnel situations which can cause the divergence. Causing the sampler to fly off towards to infinity. This ruins the chains by heavily biasing the samples. If you have even one diverging chain, you should be worried. Then increase this number 0.9. By default, it is 0.8. This will help get rid of the false positives from the test of divergence. False positive is this one जो कि नीचे गिर गया. It will say it is going towards, the chain is going right. Okay, algorithm तो ये कहेगा ना आपको. एल्गोरिथम तो कहेगा मैं तो सही कर रहा हूँ, बट इट इज योर जॉब टू सी कि वो सही कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा. सही है. सो थ्रू द ट्रेस प्लॉट्स एंड बाय इंक्रीजिंग दिस, so the algorithm will report to you the divergence. ये बात तो है कि नंबर ऑफ डाइवर्जेंसेस इवन वन भी हैं तो वो आपको बता देगा कि इतनी डाइवर्जेंसेस हैं. Even if there is one divergence, that means कि you cannot use that model. ठीक है. There is also this tuning parameter can sometimes help. So this can help you find the typical set and find good values for the step size, mass, matrix elements, etc. Step size का मतलब ये है कि going from one to the other. So that's the step size. So maybe it's a step size of 2 जो कि आप लें और इसको फिर बीच में discard कर दें, put that as a single line. So there are so many things, जैसे कि you take the random forest and there are like 20 parameters. If you are running into divergence, it's always possible that the sampler just has not started the mixing phase and is still trying to find the typical set. So that means कि you are probably number of iterations आपकी बहुत कम है. ये भी वजह हो सकती है based on the data जो आपका है. The worst warning is to get the diverging behavior. That is the main problem जो कि हमारी हो सकती है. While a divergent chain indicates that your inference may be flat out invalid, the rest of these warnings indicate that your inference is merely inefficient. ये merely पे LOL क्यों कहा है इन्होंने? इतनी ख्वारी के बाद जो है वो merely inefficient क्या ना? That's the reason. Okay, this brief guide to you don't need to worry about warnings that much. I don't think so you're going to get warnings. But if you are getting warnings, then you can look them up in this blog. Parser warnings. Some of the warnings are like deprecation warnings. Mostly deprecation warnings. कि ये function नहीं है, ये इस्तेमाल कर लें, ये खत्म हो रहा है, ये API use कर लें, etc. etc. A low number of effective samples, if you remember, जो मैंने आपको PyStan का बताया था. I explained to you the results, the output trace of the PyStan execution. उसमें एक चीज थी effective samples. That comes in the output trace. Summary जो आप करते हैं ना, model.summary. तो ये उसके a low number of effective samples is usually an indication of strong autocorrelation in the chain. So कितना सैंपल उसने किया है इससे पहले कि चेन कन्वर्ज कर गई, वो आपको उसके आउटपुट में पता चल जाएगा. So it must be several hundred samples. So this is one other thing that you need to keep in mind. ठीक है? When PyMC3 samples, it runs several chains in parallel. Loosely speaking, the Gell-Mann-Rubin statistic measure. ये आपका काम आसान हो गया. Gell-Mann-Rubin, you know it's there always. So I think यहाँ पे होगा ये. This is R hat. That is the Gell-Mann-Rubin. So Gell-Mann-Rubin should be always close to 1. That is also a sign कि कोई divergences नहीं हुई है. This अच्छा ये है zero divergences, लेकिन लिखा आ रहा है ये, ठीक है. Gell-Mann-Rubin is this measure जो कि उन्होंने यहाँ बताया हुआ है. How similar these chains are. The more similar they are to each other, the less likely there is to be a diverging behavior. अच्छा, nuts जो है, which is the default, puts a cap on the depth of the trees that it evaluates during each iteration. So you have the power to change this tree depth as well. Sometimes nuts can take a shortcut. कि कम अगर आप specify नहीं करेंगे तो कम depth के ऊपर वो कट जाएगा, ठीक है. तो लेकिन that might be premature. This stuff comes really from a combination of intuition, statistical knowledge, and experience. तो तीनों भी हमारे पास नहीं है. सही है. सर को हटा के. So checking the posteriors. Now this is where we are really concerned. ठीक है. There are 4 kinds of bad geometries that your posterior can suffer from. Highly correlated posteriors. This will probably cause divergence or traces that don't look like fuzzy caterpillars. So अब आपको पता चल गया कि if you have fuzzy caterpillars and your chain is not diverging. If there are divergences, then it is going to tell you कि एक divergence हुई. अगर divergence हुई है, then you need to revisit your model. There is no other solution. ठीक है. Either look at the joint plots of each variable. Joint plots का क्या मतलब है? What do you mean by a joint plot? Yeah. यानी दो वेरिएबल्स का कॉम्बिनेशन करके just look at the joint PDF. I'm talking about the numerical variables. ठीक है. Either look at the joint plots of each pair of variables or look at each pair of variables का joint plot बनाना है. Or look at the correlation matrix of all the variables. It's up to you. आपस में predictors should not be correlated. Try using centered parameterization. What does that mean? I just explained to you. Atotalab. Huh? Huh. So the column, every values, subtract the mean from each value and use that column. That's one way to do the centralization. Blah, 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 reparameterize. Posteriors that form funnels. ये भी एक प्रॉब्लम है ना, आपको बता दिया funnel का क्या नुकसान है. This will probably cause divergence. Try using, in this case, try using a non-centered parameterization. Just the normal. Heavily tailed posteriors. What does that mean? Heavily tailed. Heavily tailed का क्या मतलब होता है? There's a lot of data in the tails, right? There's a lot of probability in the tails. Okay, there are many points which are outlying points. Although they have a small probability, but there are many points. Okay. This will probably raise warnings about maximum tree depth being exceeded. If your data has long tails, you should model that with a long tail distribution. अब यहाँ पे this is where it comes up. कौन सी distribution मैंने prior likelihood के लिए select करनी है? That's where you need to see these things. Remember that the Gaussian shape is also taken by the beta distribution, which has the parameters primarily alpha and beta, or A or B जो हम model कर रहे हैं. That also has a Gaussian shape. So कौन सी लेनी है? If your data doesn't have long tail, then your model is ill-specified. Perhaps a more informative prior would help. सही है, तो informative prior क्या होता है? तो वो अब आपको मैंने blog दी है. Multimodal posteriors, that's horrible. अभी एक नहीं संभाला जा रहा, हमसे multimodal कैसे संभालेंगे? So that's pretty much a death blow. All samplers have a hard time with multimodality. This is not the generic case, वैसे. We don't expect that to happen. Even if it is a joint PDF over 10 variables, we expect it to have a smooth Gaussian shape. So I can have 10 dimensions, 10 dimension पे Gaussian curve बनाए, I still expect it to have a smooth Gaussian shape, or maybe with some skewness or kurtosis, whatever. ठीक है? Yeah, yeah. If that's not possible, then you're out of luck. Just let nuts sample for a day or so, and hopefully you'll get a good trace. That's a horrible, situation. So let's hope that does not come up. देखिए, shortcut ये है कि just focus on as less variables as possible. Focus on variables which are truly numerical, even if you are predicting the class label, and focus on as less variables as possible. आपका काम इंशाल्लाह हो जाएगा. Don't think about doing the GLM जो कि अभी हम हमाकत कर रहे हैं, just to see कि वो क्या होता है उसमें. So you don't do this Bayesian inference over 15 predictors. You are complicating things yourself. ठीक है, करके देखना चाहे तो कर भी सकते हैं वैसे. Okay, so we are talking about checking the posterior. What do you mean by that? इसका क्या मतलब हो सकता है? You get the trace. What do you want to check the posteriors for? भाई आपको एक posterior distribution मिली है, so you want to check its performance के उसकी prediction सही है भी कि नहीं है. So you can find out the accuracy of the predictions, which are probabilistic in nature because it's a PDF. Right? I can find out the accuracy. I can find out the F1 score. I can compare the performance with machine learning algorithms. I can draw the shape of the PDF. Posterior जो learn हुआ है, I can do many other things. So run the posterior predictive checks. That's the general name which is given to that. और आजकल इसमें वो functions change हो रहे हैं बार बार ना, every new version comes up with a new another definition of the same function, so it's very confusing. So there are a lot of deprecation warnings. ठीक है, sample from your posterior, plug it back into your model, generate new data sets. That means कि generate new predictions basically. Ab how does that correlate with the machine learning model deployment? I do not know as yet. तो PDF से आप नया data generate कर सकते. Obviously जब PDF आ गया तो you can generate the data. Try to see जो client है machine learning में, what does he want? He wants के give me a prediction value. आपके पास क्या, आपके पास एक PDF है, तो हम ये कह रहे हैं कि यार आपकी जो प्रेडिक्शंस है ना, वो आपका जो डेटा है जो कि आप चाह रहे हैं, वो यार इस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को फॉलो करता है, जिसका मीन ये है, स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ये है. तो अगर आपको प्रेडिक्शन चाहिए, आप इस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सैंपल कर लें, आपको प्रेडिक्शन मिल जाएगी. राइट, यू गेट इट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. तो अब इन द टिपिकल मशीन लर्निंग सिनेरियो वी हैव अ सेट ऑफ डेटा एज द प्रेडिक्टर्स. सही है, you have used predictors in your क्या कहते हैं Bayesian inference as well. जो आप वेरिएबल स्पेसिफाई कर रहे हैं, वो वही तो वेरिएबल्स हैं जो आपके डेटा में है, अलबत्ता सारे तो नहीं इस्तेमाल करेंगे ना. तो you can have the same formalism to make a prediction in the Bayesian inference case as well. Okay, given the input data, make a prediction. सही है, तो ये कैसे होगा ये आप बताएंगे मुझे असाइनमेंट में. ठीक है, so sample underscore ppc, I think this is the right one, but it might be a different function. वो आपको आ जाएगा उसके अंदर, जब डॉट फंक्शन लगाएंगे ना, pm डॉट, तो उसकी लिस्ट सारी आ जाएगा. I think this is the right function, इसका नाम यही है. But what do you do with these new data sets? That's question for you to answer. That you know how to use the model, right? You want a new prediction or do you just want to generate the new data? आप इस बात का मतलब समझे नहीं. This is extremely valuable. अगर आप ट्रेनिंग डेटा की डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सीख जाते हैं, posterior distribution, learn it, you can generate the data from that point onwards. क्या आपको पहले से मालूम है कि भाई ये चीज है जो कि इस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के तहत ही डेटा आएगा. अगर आपने कॉलम की डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पकड़ ली, तो अब अगले 1 साल तक जो भी डेटा आएगा वो इस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के तहत आएगा. तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हमारे हाथ में. You get what I'm saying? So how to use that learned distribution to make the prediction? ये फिर आपको PPC के थ्रू सारे फंक्शंस मिल जाएंगे. आपको बात मेरे ख्याल में समझ नहीं आ रही. We are always short of training data, right? I can use this formalism to learn the PDF of the training data as well, not just the prediction जो कि मुझे चाहिए. And I can use that to generate more training data, or I can use that to generate the predictions. Similarly, this happens in deep learning. Deep learning में जो RBMs और autoencoders और GANs हैं, all these 3 models are used for generating data. If you train them on the training data, they will learn to generate the training data. सही है. So, but this is more towards machine learning side. This is more useful. So, how close are the PPC means to the observed sample mean? What about the variance, etc., etc.? For example, suppose you were modeling the levels of radon gas in different counties in a country through a hierarchical model. Then you could sample radon gas levels from the posterior for each county, right? And take the maximum within each county. You would then have a distribution of maximum radon gas levels across all the counties. You could then, this means maximum a posteriori basically. कि हर काउंटी का आप रेडॉन लेवल की PDF निकालें और उसका मैक्सिमम हर एक का निकालें. ठीक है. You could then check if the actual maximum radon gas level in your observed data set is acceptably within that distribution. समझ में आ रही है? आपको पता है कि डेटा सेट में मैक्सिमम वैल्यू हर काउंटी की कितनी आ रही है. Compare that with the sampled map value from the PDF of each county. तो उससे आपको पता चल जाएगा कि हम कितने पानी के अंदर हैं. So actual likelihood क्या है? So that again वही बात कर रहा है कि then you can change your likelihood or the prior whatever. ठीक है, बात समझ में नहीं आई आपको? Let's say कि मेरे पास 3 counties हैं. I estimate the PDF of the radon gas level posterior in each county, and I found out their maximum value, which is the map. And I have these 3 values of each county from the data set as well, although this is just a sample, but I have them, right? So I can compare these 3 values with the 3 values here, and then I can see कि मैं कितना सही जा रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. Remember that how well the posterior predictive distribution fits the data is of little consequence. For example, the expectation that 90% of data should fall within the 90% credible interval of the posterior. The posterior predictive distribution tells you what values for data you would expect if we were to remeasure, given that you have already observed the data you did. Okay, given that the data you have here, so if we remeasured, what will we get? That's what it is predicting. If we did the same thing again, तो आपको क्या चीज मिलेगी? पहले में तो आपको क्या मिल गया? ट्रेनिंग डेटा मिला, लेबल्स मिल गए. But if you do the same activity again, that is what the posterior predictive function can tell you. You need to dig this function up in more detail. As such, it's informed by your prior as well as your data, and it's not its job to adequately fit your data. So try to understand कि posterior is not machine learning. उसका काम ये नहीं है कि मैंने मॉडल को फिट करना है उसके ऊपर. It is just getting the pattern of your PDF. So how will you use the PDF? That depends on your business problem. That is why they have offered you a lot of क्या कहते हैं, functions in the PPC modality that you can use. अब कौन सा इस्तेमाल करेंगे ये you will have to dig this up based on the problem requirement जो कि आपकी है. ठीक है, ब्रेक ले लें थोड़ा सा चाय वगैरह के लिए. तो we have to finish the lecture today. This is the simple example of the coin toss in which we are assuming the beta distribution as the prior with alpha and beta 4. You can also change these numbers. Now, this is the prior information, I mean, you are just assuming it based on your knowledge. And this was a problem in which the probability of heads is expected to come around 61% if you toss a coin 100 times. So at each, in the MCMC algorithm, at each point, we are going to toss the coin 100 times, and we're going to observe the number of heads that comes up. So we assume that the prior distribution follows the beta distribution, and the likelihood follows the binomial distribution, because primarily we are just looking at 2 outcomes at each coin toss. So n and p की जो values हैं वो n equals to n, which is 100 times, and p is equals to this one. This represents basically the, yeah, n p are the parameters of the binomial distribution, right? इसका formula आपको याद होना चाहिए. So observed equals to h. This is what I observed basically. ठीक है, कि कितनी दफा heads आया है out of 100 times. So inference में I told you this is not the. अच्छा, there are different ways to do this. One of the ways is जो कि यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है इस तरीके से, like with PM dot model this start and step, and then you can provide this start and step like this, tune for 1000 iterations, which is out of 1000. So do the tuning at every time step, random seed progress bar आपको पता ही है. And then you output the trace. Now these are the different trace, the different plots that you can have. So one is the trace plot. Trace plot, all of us know now, okay, the fuzzy caterpillar one, right? I think it is going to be accompanied by the curve as well, the PDF curve. Then there is this posterior plot. Check if your posteriors look reasonable. So अभी देखते हैं कि वो नीचे क्या किस तरह का है. Forest plot is very common. Check if your variables have reasonable, credible intervals, and also the Gelman. Let me just put it here. Gelman-Rublik scores close to 1. ठीक है, तो ये forest plot पे देखते हैं क्या होता है अभी. So let's take them one by one right now. So this is the fuzzy caterpillar one. So this is the parameter which is P in fact. Yeah, so this is the parameter, and then this is the Y, which is the number of heads that has come up in every 100 tosses of the coin. Nuts मैंने किया हुआ है, ठीक है. So we need to see the code कि ये why we are getting the different curves here. I think this is the default trace plot, right? So these could be with a different range, but it typically shows you where your probability is concentrated, and the probability density is pretty much normal. दूसरा plot क्या था? Posterior plot. Check if your posterior looks reasonable. So this looks HDI मुझे भूल गया. It's अब एक नई चीज है जो कि आई है. पहले इसका नाम कुछ और था PyMC3 में. I forgot what HDI means. Frankly speaking, मुझे अभी याद नहीं आ रहा. But this is the shape of the posterior which has been estimated from 1000 samples. Okay. Let us check right now. First, PyMC3 HDI. HDI is the interval that contains points that have higher probability density than the points lying outside. So that means basically 94% of your probability. That means that basically indicates that normality is very high. 94% area is basically covering all of your potential. And the same goes for the forest plot. Forest plot में भी आपको ये चीज नजर आ रही है. Let us see what the forest plot says. Check if your variables have reasonable credible intervals and Gelman-Rubin scores close to 1. So these are reasonable intervals, that's fine. So the intervals are being judged by these probability values. ठीक है. और भी कोई लेना चाहे तो चाहे वहां फैकल्टी एरिया से आप ले जाके. एमन आप अच्छा ये जो है this is the जो कि थोड़ा सा उसमें चला गया है. Autocorrelation plot. So autocorrelation plot can be plotted also through pandas. It can also be programmed as a separate function. It can also be done for the time series case. I think there was one autocorrelation plot. There's a function as well. I don't know. इसका एक plot underscore autocor है. So here you will not see much autocorrelation here. So we need to zoom in on these P0, 1, 2, 3 के लिए. Here are the different values of P of the binomial distribution. And we can see that this goes from 0 to 100. So this is for each sample, 0 to 100 sample, averaged for P equals to 0, P equals to 1, P equals to 2, P equals to 3. So we do not expect too much autocorrelation between the different states that have been sampled. सही है, तो इसको हम क्लोजली देखेंगे तो पता चलेगा. सो यहाँ तो मुझे लग रहा है कि शुरू में कुछ थोड़ी बहुत ऑटो कोरिलेशन है, but it should be only with the first one, right? के in each the probability that I get, you can see के the most of the samples obtained are lying within the gray area, barring the few first 2 or 3 bars that we can attribute to the initial sampling stage. So this is sort of hazy. We need to dig this deep. Okay? And then we have this density plot, souped up version of MPM dot plot posterior. Doesn't seem to be widely useful as you're plotting posteriors from multiple models. So वो कह रहे हैं इसकी इतनी जरूरत नहीं है. souped up version है ये. It's the same as this one. ठीक है, this is much better जो कि आपने दूसरा plot किया है, which is the posterior plot. And then we have this, ये specific ये मैंने उठाया है, इन्होंने कोड खुद दिया था कि ये आप diverging chains के बारे में information आप print कर सकते हैं So number of diverging chain 0, percentage of divergent chain 0. So you can use this same code in all of your, ठीक है. और जो तीसरी चीज है, आखिरी चीज है, वो प्लॉट पेयर है, पेयर प्लॉट है, P versus P. So pair plot से what do you expect to happen? इसमें सिर्फ ये pair plot में P versus P does not make sense, right? You need to have two variables for the pair plot to work. But ये मैंने यहाँ से डाल दिया क्योंकि in case you have two variables in your prior or the likelihood function, then you can put them here. So this is just to, I think, check the correlation between two variables, ठीक है? So ये सब हो गया. Again, वही वाली बात है कि map estimate, अब आपने you found out the posterior, but now you are looking to find out the map. But point is कि map is not always reliable, ठीक है? It's not always reasonable, especially if the mode is at an extreme. This can be a big issue with higher dimension posterior. So if you are using 1 to 2 variables, then map is good. But if you're using 5, 6 variables or 9 or 10 variables in your model, then map is not good. This will often occur in hierarchical models, जो कि हम next Monday को cover कर सकते हैं. That's the other beast. ठीक है? With the variance parameter for the random effect, if the individual group means are all the same, the posterior will have near infinite density. If the scale parameter for the group mean is almost 0. अब ये basically joint PDF की collectively बात कर रहा है. So इसको अभी just keep in mind right now कि the map estimate निकाल लें. There's no harm in that. यहाँ पे map estimate क्या आ रहा है? It's 0.6038. That's the most high probability of any value. ठीक है? Which is okay because we are looking for 60% probability, right? The maximum range is 0.6038. और इसका log odds भी वो साथ में present कर देते हैं. Probability of log odds भी साथ में present कर देते हैं. ठीक है? If you draw the histogram, prior का histogram, because prior हमने it's like beta distribution with 4 and 4. So if I do it 10 and 10, maybe the prior is going to be something like this. If I change the value of alpha and beta. Here is posterior के मुकाबले में जो हमने estimate किया है, the prior distribution is like just stuck to the ground. So it should be थोड़ा सा ऊपर होनी चाहिए. So maybe you can work with your likelihood the prior function to improve this. Estimating the mean and standard deviation of the normal distribution. ये बोले. अच्छा इसमें जो slice method है ना, यहाँ तो हमने nuts किया हुआ है ना, but you can do, there's another method which is called slice. So ये slice method है. This is also a sampler, right? So ये मैंने 3-4 दफा चला के देखा, it's getting stuck, and it was, I don't know what it does because मैंने इसकी तो देखी नहीं थी. But you just stick with nuts for the time being, ठीक है? So this is just estimating the mean and standard deviation. So I have two parameters, mu and sigma, and then I have this y, which is depending on mu and sigma, obviously, and n, which is again the 100 per iteration. Per state, I'm looking at 100 samples. Total iterations are 1000. So we expect the chain to converge within 1000 iterations. ठीक है, 600 में कन्वर्ट कर जाए, 500 में कर जाए, we don't know, but हम इसको maximum 10,000 तक भी कर सकते हैं. So why it is good to sample mu and sigma as the prior from the uniform distribution? ये चीजें जो मैं आप पे छोड़ रहा हूँ, ये कितना आपने रखना है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की शेप एग्जैक्टली है क्या, वो इट्स अप टू यू. ठीक है, वो डोमेन नॉलेज के ऊपर है. बट व्हाई इट कुड बी गुड टू सैंपल द प्रायर्स from the uniform distribution. कौन बताएगा? आसान सा जवाब है यार. It is pretty simple. यूनिफॉर्म डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का क्या फायदा होता है? So there is no bias. There is no bias in your selection. That's the thing. And there could be real world scenarios in which 2 or 3 events do have an equal probability. So in that case, you have to sample from the uniform distribution. For example, there might be an area in Karachi in which the probability of people responding yes to a campaign in that area is equal to the probability of people responding no. And that could be your domain knowledge. वो होता है ना यार, मुझे तो पहले से पता है, I know कि वहाँ के लोगों का क्या behavior है. That is the prior which needs to be inserted here. ठीक है? So it could be the case, or you are sampling the likelihood directly from the normal distribution based on the prior knowledge. ठीक है? So again, this is not recommended. You need to find another way to start. pm.nuts is fine, blah, 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 summary trace, tuk, tuk, tuk. So HDI basically tells you the performance of your learned model. And this is some sort of an error, jiska mujhe, I was not able to find out the meaning of that. These values are, there are two values, S bulk and S tail. I think I wrote that down somewhere here. So they are basically the effective sample size. Effective sample size in the bulk of the distribution. That means in the area which is below the curve. And effective sample size in the tails of the distribution. So both of them need to be heavy. कि ताकि हमें पता चले कि हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के हर जगह से सैंपल किया है. ये नहीं कि सिर्फ एक ही जगह सैंपल करके हमने आपको पोस्टीरियर निकाल के दे दिया. समझ में आ रही बात की? So this effective sample size needs to be good. Baki HDI is some sort of a confidence interval. I don't know. I was reading about this here. You guys remember this? HDI is the interval that contains points that have higher probability density than the points lying outside. So that's an interval. So the interval 3% interval and 97% intervals. There's not much difference. That contains the most points. 9.7 and 10.4. That means it's pretty concentrated. I don't know. This is probably the midpoint of the interval. ये आपको थोड़ा सा चेक करना पड़ेगा. But हमारा जो सबसे पहला जो आपको देखना चाहिए, you have to look at R hat and also the number of divergences. That's the first thing you need to monitor. ठीक है? So just plot this mu and sigma. So it's pretty much the same. साथ में ये थोड़ा सा मैंने गड़बड़ की है. You can just remove this, but I think one of them is mu. The first one is mu and the other one is sigma. ठीक है? Estimating the parameters of the linear regression model y equals to mx plus c. So estimating m and c. ठीक है? अब ये directly हम कर रहे हैं through posterior, not through OLS. ठीक है? अब ये कैसे हो रहा है? तो ये क्या चीज है? अंडरस्कोर है, अंडरस्कोर भी कोई बताएगा? कौन यार? स्ट्रेट लाइन भाई. एक ग्रेडियंट एक y इंटरसेप्ट है, खत्म. I have to estimate the values of 6 A and B. These are the starting values जो कि उन्होंने दी हैं. You have to start from somewhere, right? ठीक है? तो A and B की मुझे I have to approximate the values of A and B. The posterior involves the distribution of A and the distribution of B. I have to learn the distribution of A, the posterior, and also the posterior distribution of B. सही है? X तो मैं just generate some points in a particular range, and y equals to ax plus b plus np random. ये तो typical equation यही है ना? Y equals to x plus b plus error term, right? So that's the. Now I sample A and B from the normal distribution. I assume they are normal distributed. And what is sigma here? हाँ, तो it's the variance of the likelihood function. कहाँ है error term? Random n. But I'm using this sigma as the input to this likelihood function, which is a normal function. I have to specify the likelihood function as well, right? Dependent variable or variance same. ये है rule. The variance of the error function is equal to the variance of the y. How come?
y की एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू इक्वल टू x प्लस a प्लस bx और उसको माइनस करके स्क्वायर कर दो तो वेरिएंस ऑफ एरर की इक्वल है।
हाँ अच्छा 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 ठीक है सही है ठीक है. So this is equal to the variance of the error term. But in this case also the variance of y. ठीक है. And mu is y est is this one which is calculated from this one. So inference nuts sample trace plot summary blah blah blah. अच्छा ये आपकी प्रोग्रेस बार आती है. Typically it converges within a few minutes or within 1 minute, right? लेकिन अभी जो मैंने GLM में किया था उसमें तो I mean वो आप खाना खा के सो जाएं फिर सो के उठेंगे तो घंटे बाद हो चुका होगा. ठीक है. Right, so A, B and sigma, R hat is okay, fine. There are no 5 divergences, man. चलिए आप लोग इसको सॉल्व कर लीजिएगा. ठीक है. Why do you think there are divergences? Even one divergence is dangerous. जैसे हमने ऊपर पढ़ लिया, कोक बुक में कह दिया तो अब हमें करना पड़ेगा उस तरह. It could be the case कि A and B are correlated with each other. So we have to do something about that. I mean, you have to do something about that. ठीक है. Right. So yeah. So mean. I think this is some sort of an error. S bulk and S tail seems fine to me. Or so the converged value is 6.906 and 1.354 and sigma is 1.509, which is very much similar to what we were. Where did I go wrong? 6 and 2. A की value 6 or 6 and 2. That's okay. It's almost converged to that. Because 6 and 2 is my prior knowledge. I think that's the thing. ये जो मेरा, this is my prior knowledge. I think this is the likelihood function, or this is my prior knowledge. So where is underscore A? अच्छा underscore का क्या होता है Python में? I think it's a starting point. Standard deviation. So I'm sampling A from this. Acha, I'm sampling A and B from the same distribution. That's not good. I need to change the parameters. Probably that's the region के divergences आ रही हैं. बहरहाल आप plots देख लें इसके A. The plots seem okay, but we got these. I think these are the divergences जो कि आ रही हैं ना. These ये जो यहाँ पे आ रही हैं. So they are not acceptable. नहीं वो तो these are different estimations. You need to dig deep and understand कि trace plot क्या कर रहा है. आपको उसका वो API देखनी पड़ेगी. ठीक है. I have not dug that up right now. So divergences are not good. But the point is कि I can estimate linear regression like this. It is better for you to work on this one and perfect it rather than learn the OLS. और फिर ये भी देखना है कि इसको हमने इस्तेमाल किस तरह करना है. So this is also another experiment जो कि आमतौर पे Bayesian inference की किताबों में दिया हुआ है. Dose of a drug may be affected by the number of rat deaths in an experiment, right? We will model the number of deaths as a random sample from a binomial distribution because it's just two outcomes, right? Either it will die or remain live. Where n is the number of rats, because binomial has two parameters, n and p. So n is the number of rats and p is the probability of a rat dying. We are given n equals to 5, but we believe that p may be related to the drug dose x. P क्या चीज है भाई? The probability of a rat dying is related to the drug dose x. That's our probability, our guess. As the drug dose increases, the number of rats dying seems to increase. And since p is a probability, we use the following model. I think I just यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Y is obviously binomial NP. What is Y? Is it the dose of a drug? Number of deaths is Y. Based on the number of rats and the probability of the rat dying, which is a binomial distribution. So binomial distribution से मुझे पता चल जाएगा कितने rats have died. ठीक है. After that, I'm using logit. P equals to alpha plus beta x. What is the logit? Is the derivative of the sigmoid function, right? I think that's the answer. The logit function is the derivative of the sigmoid function. It's also a very famous function in stats. So we model alpha plus beta x. Where is alpha plus beta? Yeah, so alpha I'm sampling from the normal distribution, sampling from 0 to 5, where 0 to 5 is the number of rats. ठीक है? Number of rats की distribution जो है वो is alpha basically. Alpha is the number of rats. And beta is what? 0 to 10, where we said wake prior surveillance the parameters of the logistic model. So this is some other parameter, which according to the domain knowledge जो कि हमने लिया है, I don't know where 10 is being used here. बहरहाल, this is where we're sampling from. But what is the use of Y then? Logit of P. अच्छा, P को हमने यहाँ से लिया. Where is P? The probability of a rat dying. अच्छा, so this is the probability of the rat dying. It's the logit function which takes its samples from two normal distributions. सही है? थोड़ा सा complicated है बहरहाल. So attrition 1000, n equals to 5. So this is the array. X is this one. These are the starting points. With PM dot model defined prior. So alpha beta, I define these ones here. 0 to 5 and flat beta. What's PM dot flat? It's a flat beta distribution probably. Beta लिखा हो तो beta distribution होगी. Although यहाँ पे हमने 0 to 10 तो उसको set नहीं किया. You can convert that to normal and see what happens. ठीक है? Define the likelihood is the inverse logit function PM dot math. अच्छा हाँ, ये मैंने थोड़ा change किया था क्योंकि ये नई API के साथ यही आ रहा था ये alpha plus beta x. So what is the inverse logit function? So it should be a logit function. And then the y observed, this is the likelihood function जो कि हमने करना है, nuts वगैरह blah 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 blah. ठीक है? Zero divergence is this दो progress bars आती हैं. So in future warning, blah blah, tick 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 tick, 4 chains and 4 jobs, nuts beta alpha, sampling 4 chains, zero divergences. That's it. यहाँ पे क्या था? Log p and the gradient. So the log odds are given each time. So you have to learn to interpret them as well. It's probably actually recommendation ये है कि look at the trace plots and all the other plots first of all. ठीक है? अच्छा, इसके अंदर क्या हो गया? So we have this trace plot or risk of death log doses of drug. So who is going to interpret this? So in this case, this S-shaped curve is actually the posterior of the number of the risk of death or an estimate of the number of rats who have died based on the doses of drug, which is given by the log value of that point, which is x in our case. And the x are the points here in fact. XP is this just the numbers from -1 to 1 over 100 range. So it's just the numbers there over which the posterior is existing. The range over which the posterior is existing is -1 to 1. No, but the point is कि why is the risk of death a sigmoidal shape? इसका क्या जवाब है? Yeah, exactly. That's the point. कि the problem formulation is like this, kid. It wants an S-shaped curve. There has to be a threshold after which the rats start to die. That means the risk of the death grows higher. Okay? So that's what is modeled, but this S-shaped curve is actually the posterior. Because this has been constructed from the posterior values, not from something that is given by the user. So we have seen now that we can use this formalism to learn the parameters of the logistic regression model or the parameters of the linear regression model. ठीक है? अच्छा, अब दूसरी फाइल में this is a childish example. पहले मैं आपको थोड़ा सा, ये हमने कल कर लिया था, या वीडियो देख लीजिएगा to understand this. ठीक है? Hey, good, हो गया यार. नहीं, ये आप खुद बनाएंगे इंशाल्लाह. सब अपलोड हो जाएंगी भाई, आप फिक्र नहीं करें. Okay, just let me check what is happening in this one. ये मैंने कल अपलोड की थी लेकिन ये मैंने चेंज कर दी है, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put this new one. अच्छा, ये island example, this is also a very typical example which is given in the Bayesian inference books. कि there are 100 islands existing in some country, and the politician rules over all of them, and he basically wants to visit the island so that he can get the next vote, but he wants to design a strategy for that. Each day the politician chooses a neighboring island and compares the population there with the population of the current island. So if the neighboring island has a greater population than the current island, he goes there directly. If that is not the case, politician visits the probability P equals to P neighbor over P current. यानी population of the neighbor divided by the population of the current one. इस probability के साथ वो visit कर लेगा उसको. So now we come to the domain of stochastic values. ठीक है? Otherwise, the politician will just stay there. सही है? After doing this for many days, the politician will end up spending the time on each island which is proportional to the population of that island. जितनी उस island की population होगी, उसके proportional ही politician उस island पे time spend करेगा. यानी visits, the number of visits to each island turns out to be proportional to the population of that island in the long run with MCMC. सही है? तो ये R के अंदर इसका बड़ा वो था, तो किसी ने इसको, it's good that someone did this in Python as well. So make the islands, इसमें you can set up the population, then to define the hop. So define the hop, this is the proposal distribution, which I explained to you yesterday. That means primarily the prior. So that's a random choice. So take any one of the neighbors. Take any one of the neighbors of the current island. Next position is a position plus K, and then evaluate this island's next pause, and then calculate the acceptance probability जो Metropolis Hastings की मैंने कल आपको बताई थी. ठीक है? And this is the acceptance criterion, blah 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 blah. ठीक है? So ये तो खैर मैंने वैसे ही करके देखा था. So this is the population which is being generated. मैंने शुरू में पहले island की आखिरी island की, just keep it. Basically there are 10 options. ठीक है? I think total islands are 10, right? It's not 100. Where is the make islands one here? Make islands 10. So 10 islands. And we have the population of each island. Theta is equals to hop, and hop is going to start this process. Acceptance criterion. अब ये जो है ये data over data dot sum. So these are the reality. So at each island, what is the population? उसकी आपको वो हाँ percentage बताई हुई है average करके ना, with respect to the total population. Estimated population parameters. अच्छा ये this is not any algorithm. This is just the simple procedure of MCMC which is just coded directly. ठीक है? उसके हिसाब से जब आपके पास ये आता है तो you can see the similarity कि ये these are the number of visits actually उसका जो है the probability of visiting each island, these are the posteriors. So you can see that the bars here are very close to the bars here. And if I use the Metropolis algorithm for that, so it's again gives me the same thing. You can check the length of the bars. The length of the bars here represents the population. This is the population. Here it represents the number of visits, and here also it represents the number of visits by the population which have been sampled. कि हर island को आपने कितनी दफा visit किया है. So you can see that, for example, this third last is the tallest here, and the tallest here, and the tallest here. So on each island, he spends the time which is proportional to that. You can develop this problem further if you want. So now we come to something which is more complicated. Using Bayesian logistic regression to predict whether or not a customer is subscribed to a term deposit after the marketing campaign the bank performed. Any bank क्या कोई भी कंपनी हो सकती है. बैंक से तो हमारा इख्तिलाफ है ना. हम तो पुराना जमाना चाहते हैं इसमें घरों में वो पैसे पड़े होते थे. इंटरेस्ट से बचने ज्यादा जरूरी है. तो अब बहुत से कमेंट्स आ सकते हैं. मैं हर कमेंट पे कहूंगा हाँ सही है. सो मार्केटिंग ऑल्दो ये है कि फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर इज द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट हियर. सही है. सो वी नीड टू टेक मच नॉलेज फ्रॉम द फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर. ये बात तो सही है. बाय द वे एचबीएल में जो नौकरियां आई हुई हैं कुछ उसकी बिजनेस एनालिस्ट की, सीनियर बिजनेस एनालिस्ट, इंटरेस्ट फ्री जॉब है. पता करा लिया मैंने. तो अगर आप में से कोई इंटरेस्टेड हो बता दीजिएगा. ठीक है. सही है. तो दिस इज अ वेरी फेमस प्रॉब्लम इन द इंडस्ट्री. एक कस्टमर जो है उसको सब्सक्राइब करेगा कि नहीं करेगा. एंड द डेटा इज रिलेटेड टू डायरेक्ट मार्केटिंग कैंपेन्स, फोन कॉल्स ऑफ अ पोर्चुगीज बैंक. सो हमें इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस आंसर करने के how likely a customer is to subscribe to a term deposit. How likely? That means the posterior basically. How likely? Experimenting of variable selection techniques. I mean, I can design the model based on different predictors. I mean, I might have 20 predictors. So I can sample from the posterior based on one predictor, two predictors, three predictors. मेरी मर्जी है मैं कितने attributes को model में लेके आता हूँ. Exploration of the variables serves as a good example for EDA and how that can guide the. ये imbalanced cost problem है, but these are all the basic things that you need to do. Just read CV. This is available from the. This is also I've downloaded तो मैं सब चीजें आपको दे दूंगा अभी. और this is also available from Kaggle. ठीक है. So you can see के ये these are the calls, right? So there are very large number of it. This one seems to be pretty important. I don't know what that means. Okay. So these are the calls basically. एक call जो आपने की है ना, तो you want to predict now. So एक ये चीज़ है strip plot. So just find out the 0 means get not accepted and 1 means get accepted, right? With respect to the age. So you can see it's pretty much the same. There's no difference as far as the distribution of age is concerned. The same plot for this your IBM, again, not much difference here. So EDA के अंदर मैंने फिर आपको मैं repeating the same thing कि you got to make sense of EDA in this case. इस case में EDA में हमें क्या-क्या चीजें लानी चाहिए. Correlation analysis is obviously one of them. What about these plots which can help you understand the data in some other way? अच्छा ये फिर वो guy who did this, in fact it was a female. तो उन्होंने ये तरीका इख्तियार किया था to convert everything to numbers. सही है. तो ये उन्होंने अच्छे खासे functions बनाए and उन्होंने लिखा था कि this is my way of doing it. You are free to have your own way of doing it. So everything gets converted to numbers. So I think this is more or less label encoding here going on. So ये तो वैसे ही it was giving an error, so I just did this. So even the days are all numbered and the months are all numbered, blah blah blah. And now I come to the sampling part. So outcome equals to df of y. Outcome means the label that I want to predict. Data, obviously, I take all of these, जो के हैं, I put them in data. Data outcome, I put इस data का मैं output column create करके उसको 0, 1 assign कर देता हूँ. And then I find out the correlation. So correlation turns out that the most correlated is duration. The guy who talked to you a long time has the most probability of accepting your offer. जिसके साथ आपकी बात लंबी हुई है, who is willing to listen to you, is also more likely to respond to your offer, right? So it seems a logical thing to do. So पहले हम duration के ऊपर चलते हैं, ठीक है? So y simple is the data outcome, which is the 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1 column. Xn we call it as duration. X data xn dot values. So these are the values of the duration column, which I give as x0. And this is the centralization part. x0 equals to x0 minus x0 dot mean. This applies to the whole array. You कहते हैं ना शुरू में centralization. That's the. Now see what is happening here. This is the logistic regression, right? Logistic regression means the sigmoid function. So I sample alpha beta. This is what Zubair also told us. Ke, जी? हाँ ये this is just to another measure to avoid the divergence. अगर इसके बगैर गुजारा होता है तो सही है. So I sample alpha beta from the normal distribution. Although इस पे हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि should we sample from the same one? I have my doubts about this really. ठीक है. लेकिन ये शायद उन्होंने इसलिए किया है क्योंकि to be on the safe side कि we don't start making too many assumptions. So let's assume they are coming from the same distribution because they are being used in the same formula. What is this? X underscore C, which is the duration multiplied by B plus alpha. What is this? Dot product. This is the equation of the straight line. And then I put this mu in this one. As from the basic sigma function. ये कहाँ से आ रहा है यार? So I create this equation for the sigmoid. I put it here and I put this PM dot deterministic as the theta is the parameters. And this is the one boundary parameter. क्योंकि अगर आप sigmoid function की definition पढ़े ना तो it has these two parameters, theta and the boundary value, which is actually minus L. Boundary value means the threshold जिसके ऊपर 1 होगा जिसके नीचे 0 होगा. That is minus alpha over beta. ठीक है? Keep that in mind. And then obviously y underscore 1 has to be the Bernoulli. Bernoulli distribution क्या होती है? करेगा कि नहीं करेगा? But we are just having one instance of this at each sample, not like binomial, जिसमें हम 100 एक दफा कर रहे थे. So therefore I'm using Bernoulli here. तो मेरी बात की. So I took alpha beta. Based on that, I calculated my likelihood function in this way. And now I have the likelihood, I have the prior. Now I am free to sample. अब इसमें वो by default nuts उठाएगा तो आपने specify नहीं किया. समझ में नहीं आई बात की मेरा ख्याल. तो you need to have an idea in advance कि आपकी जो distribution है वो कौन सा likelihood function comes from the data. Okay, you need to estimate the likelihood function from the data, like we have done it in this way. So yeah, the problem formulation requires me to have a sigmoidal likelihood function. I mean, Bernoulli function, but based on the sigmoidal values. Or sigmoidal values I provide as the prior. I use the prior in the likelihood, so I give you two functions now. इसी तरह design करना पड़ेगा आपको. Sorry? You have to, first of all, you have to see what you want to predict. In this case, what we want to predict is YT. So we are interested the distribution, uski estimate हमने करनी है. Lekin that is depending on theta. and theta has to take the sigmoidal form. Because in this case, that's what we are assuming. The person who crosses that threshold has more. There's a set of customers more than threshold, the set of customers less than threshold. So the problem matches to that. That's the thing. So this comes with experience. अभी आपको थोड़ा सा experiments ही करने पड़ेंगे ना, ठीक है? बहरहाल जब आप इसको करते हैं तो there is no divergence here. Then I can plot this. जिसने भी लिखा है उसने बड़ा complicated काम किया है, ठीक है? So this is the value 1, the samples for 1, samples 2, and this is the sigmoidal shape of that. So this is from the posterior. सही है? The green line is the mean value of theta. This can be, and the threshold is defined by the black line, which is exactly the center with close to 0.4 or something, 0.45 or something like that. Typically हम लेते भी 0.5 ही हैं. So duration यहाँ पर आ रही है, theta यहाँ पर आ रहा है. तो just एक के ऊपर हमने पूरा आपको posterior sample करके दे दिया. Again, you know what this means, right? So हमारे main parameters कौन से alpha beta? क्योंकि alpha beta is considered as the prior distributions. The likelihood function is what we want to predict basically. The posterior predictive के अंदर we can have this accuracy score. I've not used the PPC here. PPC actually needs to be used, but if so okay, I'm using the PPC to compute the PREDs, and I'm finding out the PREDs from the data outcome कि कितना अच्छा उसको predict कर रहा है. So I get the accuracy of 89%. आपको समझ भी नहीं आया मेरे ख्याल में. जो posterior distribution आई है उससे मैंने PREDs निकाले and I compared that with the actual data outcome जो कि मेरे data में है, right? So what is the value I'm getting? It's like 89%. You can still improve that. The main point is to understand कि अब ये जो ये PPC है इसको मैं किस तरीके से इस्तेमाल कर सकता हूँ. That's what you want to understand. ये चार चीज जानना जरूरी है कि whatever I sample new data from it, how can I use that? What does that mean? Sampling new data. सही है. तो यानी अगर एक नया कस्टमर आता है, what about him? That's what happens in machine learning, right? I give you the data for the new customers and tell you to make a prediction for that. So how can I put that new data in this model to get the prediction for that? I just have the values of alpha and beta. So do I do based on that? Yes, you have to do based on that. कैसे होगा वो आप निकालेंगे. So there are several gray areas which are still remaining, ठीक है? But you can see कि I mean this is not a very क्या कहते हैं, a well-tuned model in which you have experimented with everything, and you are making a lot of assumptions. So you always have to go back and you might need to go back and revisit your priors to just tune the system in a better way. But you can get more than 90% accuracy. So ये correlation का बता रहे हैं कि some of the variables are very highly correlated. तो जो अगर correlated हैं उनमें से आप एक को निकाल दें. अच्छा, अब जो प्रॉब्लम है ना वो ये है कि if you want to use more than one variable directly, so you have this option GLM, and you can specify the equation like this. It's a huge equation, और इसमें PM family equals to PM dot GLM dot families dot binomial. Why binomial? Binomial क्यों? हाँ, पर ये सारे तो yes और no नहीं है ना भाई. हाँ, मे बी वो यही बता रहे हैं कि हमें prediction हमें binomial चाहिए based on this data. अब this is a huge joint distribution, right? तो इसको it takes 1 hour and 16 minutes to complete. But you get 4 chains with 0 divergences. 1 hour and 16 minutes. और इसमें हमने जब trace plot किया है, तो you can see कि almost all of them are fuzzy caterpillars with no divergences. It has estimated the posterior for each of the predictors attribute. and that also correctly. देखें ना, ये सारे MCMC से आया सारा, so it's all estimated correctly. Again मैं repeat करूंगा कि अब इसको आपने इस्तेमाल कैसे करना है ये आपके अपने ऊपर है. For example, ये उन्होंने एक example दी हुई है कि how does the age and education, अच्छा ये somehow इन्होंने they included this age too as well. They said कि if you do this squared, age का squared भी ले लेंगे, that also helps according to some blog. ठीक है, but I mean आप करके देख लीजिएगा अगर होता है. So how does the age and education affect the probability of subscribing to a term deposit, given that the customer is married? So I have to include the marital status, and X norm 2 का मतलब ये है कि only those customers who are married or not. Just a bit. Okay, so one is illiterate. This is some intermediate stage. 8 is a university degree. 4 means married. So we are just passing the value here, and X is the age. And then plot posterior predictive GLM for the 3 models, and let's see what happens. Oh wow. ये भाई आप बताइए, P outcome equals to yes. Age, for what was the question? How does the age and education affect the probability of, so these guys are all married. पहली बात तो ये है, ठीक है? Affect the probability age and education. तो education के लिए we have these 3 curves separately. Age यहाँ से यहाँ move करिए. What is your interpretation of this?
As far as age is concerned,
the illiterates have, yeah, so the university degree graduates have more probability of accepting, right? But the shape is almost the same. वो तो होगी. ये देखें ना, probability of outcome जितना ऊपर होगा उतना बेहतर है, right? तो यूनिवर्सिटी डिग्री वालों की सबसे ज्यादा है. They are most likely to accept the offer of market. बड़ी एज में बढ़ रहा है. बड़ी एज में probability, हाँ सेंट्रल में कम हो रहा है. ये तो है. देखें, the teenagers and the old people are more likely to buy as compared to the people who are. हाँ बस. Does the education of a person affect his or her subscribing to a term deposit? So we have this concept of odds. अगर प्रॉपर्टी नहीं है तो उसको डिलीट कर दें यार. Oh, how does this answer the question? Odds ratio of education like that. Does the education of a person, एक second बस थोड़ा सा भी, affect his or her subscribing to a term deposit? So what is happening here? NP dot exponential e to the power b. So what does this tell you, odds ratio? किसी को पता है? The answer is कि it will affect it in a binomial, in a Gaussian way. बस ये आप जवाब दे दें उसका. So बस ये खत्म हो रहा है यार.
समझने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा.
The probability of odds ratio lying within 1.054 and 1.110 is 95%. So this needs to be dug up in proper detail. अच्छा अभी ये है कि let's take this up from the next class. I will have a few more examples for you, including the hierarchical one. Abhi, So that's it for the recording.